So now that we know the difference between different types of cooking processes, let's talk about the progression of temperatures. What happens when we apply heat to food? The first thing that happens when you apply heat to food is at 150 degrees, your pen gives out. At 150 degrees Fahrenheit, gelatinization of starches. (150 degrees) gelatinization of starches. The first thing that happens when we cook food. Starches at 150 degrees absorb liquids and swell. You know this if you've ever made rice. 1 cup of raw rice, 2 cups of liquid in the pan together, lid on the pan, 45 minutes later, hey, the rice is bigger, the water's all gone. How'd that happen? Gelatinization of starches. The starch, the rice, absorbs the liquid and swells. This is how we make sauces as well. You make a roux, you add milk or some kind of stock to it, and you see it thicken. It's the starch in the flour, absorbs the liquid and swells. Gelatinization of starches, a very important road marker in our progression temperature of what we do to food. And I'm going to ask you this again and again and again, and you're going to start to look for this. When you're making rice or you're making your roux, you're going to look for this 150-degree temperature range when things start to gelatinize, absorb liquids and swell, thicken. The next thing that happens is 165 degrees Fahrenheit is coagulation of proteins. At 165 degrees, proteins coagulate. They stiffen and shrink. You know this if you've ever made a hamburger, right? Raw hamburger this big, cooked hamburger this big. Things stiffen and shrink. Chicken breast in the pan starts out this big, winds up this big, and you can actually look down in the saute pan and see where the chicken breast used to be. This is coagulation of proteins. This is when you know when something is cooked or not. The most important marker on our roadmap. So coagulation of proteins at 165, stiffening and shrinking. At 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Anybody know what happens at 212? Boiling water, evaporation of moisture. Evaporation of moisture. Liquid turns to steam, evaporates into the atmosphere. This is how you dry things out, basically. Fourth thing that happens in our progression of heat effects on food, 320 degrees Fahrenheit, caramelization of sugars. Caramelization of sugars. This is the grill marks on the grilled item. This is that nice brown plate appeal on your sauteed item. This is the smell when things are grilling. It's caramelization of sugars. The sugar in the items turn to caramel, just like making peanut brittle or anything like that. But this is what gives you the really nice plate appeal. This is what gives you eye appeal. We will be going through this until you're absolutely sick of it. Over and over and over and over again, because this is the basis of all cooking. Knowing this progression of the effects of heat on food. At 150 degrees, starches gelatinize. At 165 degrees, proteins coagulate. At 212 degrees, moisture evaporates. At 320 degrees, sugars caramelize. This happens in almost every cooking process. So this is a very important progression of temperatures. It dictates everything that we do. The knowledge of convective versus conductive cooking and what happens when we apply heat to food is the essence of this class, really. All right? Very important. You're going to wish you wrote it down.